Ladies and gentlemen, this is the African Actions Network 2A Radio. I'm here for at most 1 hour. And we want to talk a little bit about the rice dilemma in Liberia, the crisis about rice in Liberia. And that is the price of rice is increasing, meaning that Liberians, the staple food for Liberia is it's a situation that the government of Liberia has to deal with. And it's too early for the Boakai's government to begin to face a crisis point on Liberia's table food. We do not know what is happening in Liberia, but we hope that the Boakai's government, as they have come to rescue the country and to provide means for the ordinary people to live, they will do just that. Strongly, some of us think Boakai should not find it very difficult because he has been in government for over 42 plus years, and he knows the situation. He being involved in government, he knows Liberia's table food is an issue. So to have decided to be president of Liberia, it is a common thinking that anyone who wants to be president has a strategy that is better than the predecessor or somebody who has been there before, or you came and had an election and you defeated the incumbent. And also it is believed Liberians, the voters, do believe that Joseph Boakai had a better strategy to better their conditions. And so we do not think that Joseph Boakai at this time will find it very difficult because he has been in government. The United Party government, especially so the political party, the United Party, should have the means, the strategy as to how they would have solved the problem, affecting the people of Liberia. I honestly believe that the rice issue must be handled with care. Let me say it again. I always like to say this, right? Because I had an opportunity to sit with Bacchus Matthew, the late. And I can still remember some of the conversation we had. You do not take Liberians for granted. That's some of the things he told me. He said Liberians cannot be taken for granted. They did it to other leaders, they can still do it to you. And the best you can do is to provide the best strategy. And I think I was thinking before coming on air, I'm wondering whether Liberians lack wisdom, whether Liberians lack knowledge, whether Liberians lack understanding. Because almost everybody who is in government now, they may have been in government or they may have been around government. Now, it's a very sad mistake that Joseph Boakai's own strategy of bringing people on board, and that's my view. It was not holistic. It wasn't done with the mindset of getting the best minds. It was purely on the basis of party politics or those who were singing songs surrounding Boakai's election. Those who were on Facebook, those who were championing the cause for Joseph Boakai's election, and that's the basis for which he appointed people in the government. Now, here's the point. Agriculture is one of the pillars of his rescue mission. And we haven't gone 5 months. 100 days just passed. I started asking myself whether the Boakai's government thought of the issue of rice as part of their plan for agriculture. How do we feed the people? Even let us assume there will be massive farming, which I doubt, but they can prove us wrong. Let's think about. Oh, just a second. Let me share this video quickly and come back to this important conversation. We're not going to sit here and allow, Liberia as a country to keep dragging our feet. It's not in the interest of Liberia. It's not in the interest of those who are leading. All right. It's not in the interest of any of those people who are now in government, political parties, individuals who have come to change the society. I may not know what is going on, but a few things I think we should look at very seriously. The agricultural minister and all of those who are now serving as ministers. I'm told there was a cabinet meeting today, right? I think I was reading it from the New Republic. They said the rice crisis has forced the Boakai government to have its first cabinet meeting. I do not think that's the first cabinet meeting though, but cabinet meetings are not emphasized. And these little things matter. My late professor Balazar said the little things matter, right? So when you're having a cabinet meeting, the summary information from the cabinet meeting must be publicized. It's not a private dealings. Cabinet meetings are all about government affairs. So there must be agenda items for every cabinet meeting. I don't know. In fact, there must be a schedule for a cabinet meeting. The very first cabinet meeting of the first government, like the Joseph Boakai's government, they should have designed the very first meeting should have been to set an agenda or draw up a plan as to when, how cabinet meetings will be conducted. And very necessarily set up a secretariat for the cabinet meetings. And the secretariat will do all they can to provide summary information for Liberians. All right. Let me. Oh my God, I should have done this ever since, right? But let me just do this thing quickly. So it doesn't mean that there are. It doesn't mean people in the Boakai government don't know these things. But knowing these things matters. You cannot sit and pretend about government affairs. And those who are surrounding leaders, they must be honest with themselves and be honest with their leaders. Now, I'm talking about cabinet meeting, right? I think, and that's my view. If let's assume I was part of Boakai's cabinet, and there are no cabinet meetings, and I know the best way we can have an effective cabinet is to conduct cabinet meetings. I will first approach Joseph Boakai and say, Mr. President, why there are no cabinet meetings? For the first 100 days, we have had no cabinet meeting to set at least some procedural steps as to how we conduct cabinet meetings. I guess there might be, I don't know whether there's a statute or there must be a procedural handbook as to how cabinet meetings should be conducted. If there's none, then of course they should have had one. Because if you don't do these things, then how do your government run? How do your government function? I bet you somebody will say cabinet meeting not necessary. You're not too careful, right? Yeah, somebody will say cabinet meeting is not too necessary. Then how do you function? And the thing I'm saying here, um, okay, I was saying if I was a part of a cabinet meeting, right, we would have had every minister in the government to make a, in fact, there would have been a schedule, and I would have pushed for that, and the president or would have had a secretariat for the cabinet meeting. And the cabinet meeting, I'm not going off track, I know what I'm saying. The cabinet meeting, every official of the government would have submitted a plan of action for the approval of the cabinet. I mean, the whole cabinet sitting down, agriculture minister, you must submit a plan of action that the government can rely on, and the plan of action, that strategic document that will come from the Minister of Agriculture, we will, if it is not done in a strategic way, we all will cause noise in the cabinet meeting. Maybe they would have dismissed me earlier, because if you call yourself agriculture minister, you cannot give a clear a strategic document as to the plan of action, your 1-year plan, so that Liberians, after the 1 year, when you do that, we get the secretary the opportunity to go out and publicize what we have planned. We would have had an open government. The agriculture minister will come and say, well, these are my plans. The first 3 months, what are you going to do? The first 100 days. So right now we have rice crisis now. So what is the agriculture minister saying? What was the plan for feeding the people of Liberia? So the cabinet meeting would have suggested, you would have had, I doubt it, even Boakai can stand real democratic exercise in the cabinet meeting. He will fire people, because people disagree with him. And you disagree with the way I say Boakai, you disagree too much, he will fire you, right? So because of that, people are sycophantic, right? People feel that they do not owe themselves, neither the government. Everybody, what they want to do is to be, that self-seeking and lack of interest in the running of the government. I don't have to be the agriculture minister, but if there were ever cabinet meeting, and I'm part of the cabinet meeting, the agriculture minister, let's say, for example, I heard that they had a cabinet meeting today on this rice issue. Then I would have been one of those who asked Mr. Minister, we told you from the onset you must submit your strategic document. You did not. Now here we are, the price of rice. That would be the issue of commerce, right? So, but because agriculture deal with the food, although commerce, meaning you must make everything available for the people to get rice to eat, right? But we would allow the two of them in a major way to deal with the issue, and we'll sit down and listen to them. And when they blunder enough code, we're going to lash at one another in the cabinet meeting. If it come a time, if I end up cabinet meeting, let's say, for example, I'm sitting in one of those cabinet positions, and then it's my time to make any presentation after all the big more, and I don't do mine, of course, the thing should be applied to me. People should lash at me so that we all can be effective. But here we are, right? Here we are. Boakai's, after the first 100 days, the cabinet, they can't feed the people. People crying on the price of rice. So what do we do? Should they clap for Joseph Boakai and his team? Should the people clap for Joseph Boakai and his team for not feeding the people? Sorry, my people. This electronic stuff sometimes it cause some delays, right? But okay, let me continue with this, right? So then we're talking about the price of rice dilemma in Liberia. As we are understanding the price of rice, Liberia's staple food is now expensive. Honor Joseph Boakai, one of the oldest person who be in government, meaning then that he has witnessed all of the problems that have associated with rice in Liberia. So under his administration, the rescue team, Liberia should not experience what they're experiencing, because it means then that he should have had the best of strategy. If we had never had it, he Joseph Boakai supposed to. Because he studied agriculture, right? Yeah, I think he got his degree in agriculture. So then he should be the best person to deal with the crisis. But as I said from the onset, most leaders in Liberia, and that's my, every time I say, sometimes during my free time, I begin to think why Liberia cannot grow. Let me give some low simple or factual information or comparative information. And I will compare the country Israel to that of Liberia, right? Let me see. Okay, good enough. There are two things I'm going to read today. I'll read something from the Bible, and I'll read something. I'll compare Israel to that of Liberia. Do you know that Israel is about 5 times smaller than Liberia? Do you know that? Israel is 5 times smaller than Liberia. Israel, from its foundation, was like a dry land, a desert, so to speak. Liberia covers about 111,369 square kilometers, while Israel covers about 21,937 square kilometers. This makes Israel only 19.7% the size of Liberia. So there is absolutely no reason for Liberia to be where it is. Absolutely no reason. If Israel could do it from nowhere, Liberia, one of the oldest African country on the continent, cannot feed herself. A shame. If Liberia gave independence or help with the vote to get independent to Israel, that is 5 times smaller than Liberia. 5 times smaller than Liberia. So think about this. Israel is an independent country. Israel military, as we all speak right now, Israel is fighting almost like a proxy war from all corners. If Israel was a Liberia, by the time if Israel was like Liberia, by this time Israel would be conquered by the Palestinian or Hamas. So there is absolutely no reason for Liberia to be where it is. But you know why? The only reason why Liberia is where it is because of the leaders of that country. Liberia has had an unfortunate situation. People who have served or who are serving as leaders of that country, they have no wisdom, they have no knowledge, they have no understanding as to the foundation of that country and as to how to improve Liberia. Somebody will say, yeah, you're not there, that's what you're talking to us for. Don't say that because you have the resources. The only thing Liberians need, even some of the poor people in our country, is money. That's what they need. Some of them will put action to work. So when you come from nowhere to give you money, now the legislature, besides even the huge salary they are taking, you have $30,000 in the current national budget for each of them. That's something nobody told. They said they were debating budget recently, right? They have something in the national budget they call District Development Fund. That money is for each legislator. $30,000. They've seen $30,000 they've been taking for the past time. It is still in the national budget. So tell me now, how do you hope to develop a country for generations? Are you in fact thinking about generation? when they say when people don't think about what they met, they will be thinking about abusing it, and then thinking, say, me, and when I die, I'm out. But other good nations, like America, like the old man Joseph Boakai, every time I listen to him, he thinks about the future of America. It's not because America is big, but the thought pattern, the wisdom, the reading of information. Now, wisdom and knowledge. Knowledge is where you go and find the information. They're talking about rice. Even with the cabinet meeting, who among those cabinet ministers that stood up and said, this is the best strategy we can use to feed Liberians? How many of them stood up and said, Mr. President, we have not seen a clear explanation as to your arrest strategy for this country, agriculture. None of them can explain as to what are the methodology for dealing with agricultural problem in Liberia. So you have rice crisis, the price of rice. I wouldn't be surprised that people will soon say, oh, they put fighting war in Ukraine or the fighting war in Israel. Sooner or later, government officials will start saying those things. Instead of addressing the crisis, sooner or later, maybe even beginning tomorrow, we'll start hearing that the government say, oh, they put fighting war, that what the price of goods. In fact, the price of goods, the price of rice is high on the market. You will not be saying we have good rainforest. We don't have a desert land in Liberia. We have a good forest. We have water. You're not going to dig a canal. God bless that country. The season we have is only two. You don't have a terrible season like you say hurricanes coming this season or this time or whatever. So you have a very good soil that when you drop any seed, it grows. A germinate, it grows. Then you say you don't feel yourself. You voted for Israel to be an independent country, but Israel is far better than you are. Your size as a country, you are larger than Israel. The only thing is Israel has more population than you are. But that's no excuse for Liberia. But when people are thinking about finding solution to problem, they will find solution. Now, let me read something. I'll tell you two things I'm going to do. I'm not going to stay here for long today. I read for you something from the Bible. And the reason I'm reading this thing, I'm not a theologian. Don't get it wrong. I should be reading the law, right? But there's no law issue. But I just want to read something. Maybe somebody listening can others sit with somebody in government and they all will begin to think. I'll say it again. Some of the poor people who are making farms with cutlasses, if they have money, they can make a difference. The big story for all of us in this world is that we're supposed to better our condition because there's absolutely nothing we're taking from this world. We are dead and gone. But the moment they announce that you have died, it's over. You get $1 million, it's for nothing. You get houses, it's for nothing. Whatever you have for which you are depriving other people from living a better life, it belongs to the world. There's absolutely nothing you're taking from here. Even you leave your children will mismanage it. At the end of the day, what happened to your soul? You and God will decide that. But Liberia should not be where it is. It takes the mind for people to think and develop a country. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Look, when I found out, when I was, out of curiosity, I can just go somewhere, I want to read certain things. So I was comparing Liberia with Israel. I said, but I wonder if Israel is bigger than Liberia. Then I searched it out. And that's why I'm getting information. For Israel to be 5 times smaller than Liberia And as sophisticated as that country is, and as Liberia is older than Israel, and Israel, even when it comes to military, Israel military might. Just imagine a country that is 5 times smaller than Liberia. The entire war is going against Israel, and Israel is still standing to fight. When I say the entire war, I'm talking about this crisis that's going on, right? I mean, the tensions coming from all over. That's what I mean. Let me read something. I say I want to read something from the Bible. Right? Somebody say, "Oh, just going to the Bible." Yeah, I'm going to the Bible. You know, I like to read the Bible sometimes. Right? I'm not a theologian. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a pastor. But there's something I want to emphasize, right? I'm reading from Genesis chapter 2. Get here in my listening because a certain thing coming to it. Genesis chapter 2, right? Let's read for 7 and find and get a logic and see what, sometimes it's easy as we talk about things, it's easy for other of us to sit down somewhere and cause a noise and everything and go. But if you have an obligation that you want to do ministers, you have the obligation to research. And to do research is to find information that you can rely on, that you can tap on to do the best for your people. So let me read for you Genesis chapter 2, right? Now, if I'm reading this thing as the Constitution in a law book, now I would say, well, go to the Constitution of Liberia, Article 2, Section 7. I'm reading the Bible, so forgive me. This is not the Constitution. The Bible, chapter 2 of Genesis, and verse 7 and 8. Let's read something. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Now, that's not my focus. God created you and myself, and we became men. Well, let's see what God did after that time. When God created us, now we all came into the being some way, somehow. If we all sit down, when I was reading the thing, I thought many ways, and I can't find answer for myself. How many of you and myself can remember the first name of our, let's say, the fifth generation? I mean, not fifth generation. Let us assume, okay, what do I say? Grandpa. We probably know the grandfather's name. Great grandfather, great grandfather, the fifth great grandfather. How many of us can remember the name, the first, not even the last name, the first name of our great grandfather? How lost we all are. That just signal to all of us that we are only here for a season, for a time. So there is no reason that one person can take millions of dollars from the country's coffers and think they are better than anybody else. If all the Boakai cabinet ministers, the legislators, the judicial officials will just decide to sacrifice and say, you know what, in this time of our life, we will take salaries that we can only feed ourselves. The rest of it, we all will put it into the country. So that under our regime, we would have set a better foundation for our world. Instead of taking 5, let's assume other than 15,000, whatever. How much money do you need? How much food do you eat, each of you? So you can, okay, I'll do it this way now. You can say, look, if a Boakai could have called a general meeting, it's not about that coordinating spirit that the Constitution speaks about. Don't forget, coming back to the Bible, and say, look, we need to have a strategic meeting as a government, not a divided government. I'm talking about judiciary, legislature, executive. No, every one of us will sit and decide. This country has suffered for too long. What matter of authority can we take and better Liberia for the rest of generation? We will start this. It means we will sacrifice ourselves for this country. How many of you, legislators, senators, representatives, cabinet ministers, judicial officials, that will say it is time to sacrifice. I say this and I get reminded. We're in South Africa and we're going to Pigeon Island. At that time, it was through the former Auditor General's leadership. And the bus that we were in, I was sitting by one old man, and I was so much admiring a part of the road, and I was chatting with this old man. And he began to tell me the sacrifice that South Africa made to develop that country. He said, that thing you see, that handmade, is not machine. So African suffer and die to build that country. What can Liberia? Everybody want money. You don't own money. Money not for you. Money for this world. You will die and leave it here. And it will leave the hands of your relatives. You can believe it or not. So why don't you develop Liberia? You should be thinking about finding a new capital for that country. And you all can do it. The only thing you have to be selfless. Or you can say, you know what, we will pay ourselves $5,000 from the president clean down. We will take $5,000. How much money the president needs? Joseph Boakai, how much money he needs? How much food can Joseph Boakai eat? Technically speaking, Joseph Boakai cannot eat even $1,000 food for the month as a person. I know you have other expenses as a government leader and all those stuff. But I'm talking in a very practical sense. That goes to almost all the representatives. Somebody was, let's say, for example, my own friend, or I call the boy from Maryland County. But I just got a letter. Oh my God, what do you call the boy? Okay. Can you imagine that? But let me put it this way. Somebody was not making even $500 US per month, yet got elected. And the person's salary is set at $15,000. Think about it. If you have leaders who have wisdom, knowledge, and are prepared to understand Liberians' problem, they will sit to strategize instead of saying, oh, we'll cut civil servant salary down, we'll do this, we'll do that. They should be sitting on the say, you know why? We will have to make some sacrifice. And Joseph Boakai would have stood up to say that. The people crying, you don't get time, they want to talk too much, then you go the most radical way. And all will be for the good of Liberians. And even they themselves, after the struggle is over with, they will appreciate where the hardship came from. But nobody thinking about that, right? So then here we are with rice crisis. Where can Joseph Boakai find money to solve the problem of rice? You're not too careful, they're going to mortgage something else to solve this problem. They might either take loan to solve this problem. So the issue of price of rice is not new to any generation. To this generation before us, and whatever you think about it. It's not being very easy, right? So there we are. Sooner or later, people are going to be begging from outside. But the world is closing up. Whether you believe it, whether you've seen it, whether you're feeling it, the world is closing up. Resources being used for warfare. Like America is, you know how much billion dollars they approve for Israel, Ukraine, and for these Palestinians programs just to feed them. So when you're crying, you'll be crying your own cry. And when most of you are not careful, we cannot sit on this program and don't say it. You don't careful. When Liberians are hungry, they'll rise up. Nobody is wishing for those things, but you have to understand the problem and tackle the problem. To avoid chaos, you must sit and strategize as to how You had to solve this problem. You should not even come this far. Before you were announced as president or after you were announced president, you would have broken down how to feed Liberians because you would have known the problem. Okay, so let's go back to the reading of the Bible now. Genesis chapter 2, verse 8 says, and the Lord God planted a garden. God himself planted a garden. Liberia planted a garden. So let's say, for example, Jensen with no agricultural knowledge, you made me agriculture minister. I would have been thinking all over the place. How can I handle this thing? How can I handle this thing? The first thing I would have thought about, in fact, for me, as I play with strategic document, so I have a little bit of understanding. So if I get a smaller thing to do, the first thing, what can be my own little strategy that I can put my people together, my style, say, look, what can we do now? This is what we have. This is the people problem we have. We are managing the agricultural program for Liberia for this time. What can we do for the first 1 year so that we are done? In fact, every department I would have given an assignment to every department within the agricultural sector, even up to the county level. You will have to do that document, that strategic document. If you're sitting in someone's office, you will have to send a document to town and tell me this is what we will do. This is how I want to approach my thing. Then we put all the information into one big document that will be known as a strategic document for the agricultural ministry. And then we would have submitted it to the president's office, to the legislature, to the judiciary, and send it all over so that people will know for agriculture on Boakai, this is what we have to do. So that it would have been so publicized to the point where even Jensen would say, Naya, I would have been looking, okay, the agriculture minister or the minister of agriculture says, in the month of April 2024, this is what is supposed to be on now. Okay, they plan to buy all the equipment. Okay, I wonder how the yellow machine is going to buy from the beginning of the government to the first 3 months. Then they can go and just draw their finger through it. Oh, yeah, this thing is here. They plan to do this. Oh, they have done this. Oh, they plan to do this. Let's see what they're doing. So that even journalists themselves will have a document to monitor you all. But here we are, right? So let's go back to the Bible. It said God himself planted a garden. So I would have made that to my, you know why? I'm going to help people. You can plant garden in the most sophisticated way. When the Bible was written, I think you myself were never born. Our forefathers, some of them were far away from being born. So when God planted a garden, that's a principle that we all can apply. Every Liberian, not just government official, let's assume that you have a backyard garden. Now that's your takeaway, you ordinary people. Get a backyard garden. And you decided to plant potato grain, palava sauce, or groundnut. Just put it in the soil, it will germinate, it will grow. If everybody in Liberia had taught this principle, that because God planted garden, every Liberian are encouraged to plant a garden, and that resources will be made available. Those who want to make farming at a larger scale, we will give them grant, or we will give you money, and you will make farms. But the farm you will make at the end of the day, after the harvest season, we use the principle again about 10%, right? I would probably say now, because you were given money, let's assume that, the Bible has so many things. I read this thing on my mind. Let's assume now that you taking God planted garden, right? You started planting garden, and government decided to give you a support. Every Liberian, countrywide. Now they have 30,000 now for district development, right? Whether they were sincere about it, they got 30,000 and divided it to people. You said this is, when I say people, I mean the very strategic people. Not just going to take money and give people who by the time give it to them, they're going to sit and eat it and get drunk. I'm talking about, you find the most serious people, those who already have a little hand mark, you give them money and tell them that at the end of this year, we're coming right back to you. We will come, whatever you planted, we will buy the proceeds from you. And maybe we'll get a warehouse and put whatever we harvest from around the country and put it somewhere. Right? So God planted a garden. So every Liberian, let's assume people take the principle of planting garden. Now I say garden, I don't want it to be like an ordinary garden. God's garden was for a purpose, right? But let's read further down. It said, the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, eastward of the world in Eden. And there he put the man whom he had formed. So God, I don't care where Eden was, but God planted a garden and God made man and put man in the garden. It's deep when you think about this thing. All we all know is that, oh, God made man out of his own image. That's all we talk about every day. That's the Bible we know. God made man and from his own image and called Adam. And from Adam rib, he told Eve, he made woman. And then Satan came and fooled them. And because of that, God drove them out of the garden. That's the Bible we know. But let's look at some of those things. I mean, I'm not here to teach Bible now, but I mean, just out of some curiosity, talking about rice, talking about Israel, comparing Israel to Liberia, maybe these are the principles that Israel used, right? Israel said, well, we have only desert around us here. What do we do? Started finding strategy. Maybe because they are religiously entrenched, they decided, maybe some prophet or somebody decided to say, you know what, this is my strategy. We don't know Israel. I will do that research. I want to know how Israel really started. What was the original idea of Israel's program? To become a great nation. Why? So you come to the point where he said God planted a garden and made man and placed man in the garden. And out of the ground, okay, this is what I want you to do. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree. Jesus of Nazareth. You know, I'm not a preacher, right? But honestly, this is those of you who are in government. I hope you would have a time to just take this. Forget about, because I think this is where, you know, this I think I'm doing this thing like a general thing, right? But talking about rice, the price of rice dilemma in Liberia. But honestly, there's a strategy I see right here. Too many things here that Liberia could find her success from. Liberia's success can come from right here, what I'm reading. You say what? And out of the ground, what? Made the Lord God to grow every tree, so what? To grow every tree. Whether you call it rice tree, orange tree, pineapple tree, whatever you want to call it. Every tree represents everything that you eat. Let's read further. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant, oh my God, to the sight and good for food. So you see, you have those of you, if I was the agriculture minister, this is a strategy to make Liberia self-sufficient, to feed herself. I have no doubt that Israel's strategy came from right here. I'm going to research it though. So God created a garden and he put man in there. And he said, out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden. So everything you think about can come from the soil. You think about airplane, it comes from nowhere else but the soil. You think about what? I want to call sophisticated things. Shit. Everything came from the ground. Because when God created these people, think about it. They have no cutlass. God did not give them cutlass. God did not give them anything. The food to eat. Everything students can eat all the trees here. Don't eat this other tree. But everything came from the ground. So use that as a founding principle for Liberia's growth. Honestly, if I president of Liberia, you can trust me. This would have been a foundation of my presidency. This would have been a foundation for my presidency. There's no plain talking to say, oh, I'm going to build your skyscraper, I'm going to build your, how you call it, thing, coastal highway and all of those things. And no, the strategy would have been to make Liberia, first and foremost, self-sufficient from the ground. I would have done that successfully for every county. In fact, you at a high school, you will make a farm. We would have designed it in such a way that even students will have a time to go and brush and make their farm. You want scholarship, you will make a farm, and from there we'll give you a scholarship. They'll either come abroad and study. But everything we'll do will get the first thing we will do is to go to the ground. You know, in America, right? I posted something last time, right? My first house I was in first, behind my backyard. You know, some of my people in America, yes, I planted behind my garden, behind the house. The pepper that grew from nothing, I said, oh my God, I wish I was in Liberia. And somebody think I'm talking for nothing. No, you don't talk. I have lived in Liberia. Some people don't know some of it. You just think like somebody look at me think I'm just one of the lazy guys. No, I'm not lazy. That's why I have a friend who said, look at you getting lazy. When you see me walking down, I'm not lazy. No, I'm not lazy. I did some tough job, upcoming job. There are people in Liberia that see me, they know my story. There was a time out of curiosity I started planting. I planted peanut. You know, people those rogues stole my laptop, right? I would have shown you some of the things that I did. I like the soil. And that's what I'm thinking about. This came to my mind. I started to read this, and I'm sharing that with you all. This is a strategy that God plays for everybody. Great nations, this is the strategy they have. America, with all they're doing here, they don't play. America is concerned about the production of food. If America realizes that there is shortage of food, you can trust me, they pump money immediately. They couldn't play with those who are making farms in this country. Now, only Liberia will sit down, people want beer shouting, sit down in the street and drink beer, drink stout, and kind of stuff. So even nobody, so the leaders are doing it, then the young people are not thinking. There's no vision for the country. Now you come with the price of rice. What will be the strategy? I hope I'll read something tomorrow morning. Maybe we'll come out there and say, you see the thing we were talking yesterday, the idea that we were discussing, the people idea fine. Trust me, they're talking about something about loan or some kind of thing. That's what they're talking. They're not even thinking about how can we, you know why? If you have a very clear strategy, you can tell Liberian, you will have to swallow the bitter pills for one whole year. And after that 1 year, we can assure you we'll be feeding ourselves. But don't do it to the poor people and you're sitting there drinking beer every day. When you send it to them, it means yourself, you tell your cabinet, you tell everybody, say, look, I will cut down salaries and I will cut down, allowances for whatever we get, we'll put it back to the soil. We'll put it in the soil. After 1 year, we start doing something different. So the issue of rice, don't tell Liberians, so you're going to change your diet, do this and do that. It's not the time for that. You must be convincing. That's not a convincing statement. Oh, you go by, you eat cassava. No, Liberian have been eating rice. And you can't rescue. You can't say, oh, because you're eating rice. That's not rescue. If you tell them to go outside buying Edo and put it inside eating it, as good as that sound, but that's not a rescue process. We'll be telling them the strategy. We're going to make Liberia self-sufficient. This is how we started. We have bought some yellow machines. Let us see the yellow machines. We send it to Lufa, Bon, Nima, Grand Jida, Roa G, Roa Says, Grand Bassa, Bapolo, Kidman, all of the counties. Bombing everybody. I'm just randomly naming those things. You send people, you send over yellow machine there. And then you see that people, so even when they're hungry, they'll see that there's a better day. Tomorrow will be bright. There's a season. This season, we're not going to die. Man. The government's serious. What was I saying? You don't need to go and start talking plenty for that. When they see the yellow machines, they see the counter official, the what do you call them? The development superintendent. You are gathering his team. And the government has decided to make farm. Know how many acres from every county. And you send the yellow machines there. And people can see, can feed, the young people are working and they know that there's a prospect. They wouldn't come job behind you for beggar rights business. But you have no strategy to tell the people. You tell them, say, I'm going to go back because I'm going to go eat out. Oh, you know, this and that. We also had this situation, the fighting war in Ukraine. Why Ukraine will make fun, you can't make fun. Oh my God. Why Ukraine must be making fun, you can't make fun. When you get rich resources, what's stopping you, Liberians, making fun? It will give, you know why they made some of us leaders, right? You know, when I wanted to become senator in Liberia, somebody, one of my friends, after years, you were asking me, Jesse, were you serious to be a senator? I didn't say nothing to you. I know how you listening to me. I didn't say a word to you. I just look at you. Okay, so you see, he now exposed himself. He just told me that he was one of those who were campaigning against me. I didn't tell you. I know he probably listened to me. You know, you never know who can become a strategic leader. Even right now, I say people can be one of the best presidents like me. Okay, let's see, become president, you start doing something, nobody know. So as a result, nobody trusts any Liberian. They say, well, this person can be president. Nobody's trusted because everybody gets on the stage, you want to do their own thing. So as a result, and you know, the funny part is you have a group of people who have educated themselves. Some of the country nowadays who spend money to go to school. The money we spend, the people money, the United States government money, to go to school. You can't think about it, right? I was driving, let me tell you something. I was driving yesterday. I was driving, coming from the airport, right? And then a thought came to me. I don't know what those things, my head is crazy. Sometimes I just get into something. So I started thinking, I said, okay, you know what? There is this War and Economic Crime Code. And I've been discussing about whether there's a statute or anything. So, you know, everything is easy these days. I mean, people accept you are lazy. And I decided to draft a statute. For like, I've not posted it, but I wanted to do that, right? I'm not talking about, I think my conversation is going a little bit far away, but it's important for the purpose of Liberia. So I decided to develop a statute for the World Economic Crime Code. And things easy, right? I would drive, you know, it's on my own crazy head. So I took my phone, I was driving. When I talking to me, I just go on my phone, I get an app on my phone. The artificial intelligence stuff. Some people think that noise is not noise, it's a serious matter. You don't know it. You're not curious to know it, you're not going to know it. So I took it, in my prompt, I type it, and by the time I enter the key, I got to find document, the document I got. Even myself would not have sat down to write it easily. How unique the world is today. So if I'm agriculture minister, I don't need to hang my head. I don't need to hang my head. They are developing countries. I would have gone to Israel. If I'm agriculture minister, I would have gone to, I would have sought to study how the Israelis manage to be where they are. And I would have fought to duplicate their strategy and apply it to Liberia. If I were president for Liberia right now, that would have which I would have done. I would have fought to sit with the prime minister. And then you say, you know what, you owe me My country was the one that voted for you to become independent. I need you more than ever before. The strategy you had, I want that strategy to Liberia. And from there, very likely he would have instructed his agriculture minister and to work with Liberia. That's what they need. You didn't need to go begging people for money. You get a land, you get a resource, you get everything. And the Bible just says it. Even God himself, his strategy came from here. God told you and myself from the soil, from the ground. Then he planted trees. He said every tree was pleasant for food and other things. Houses come from the ground. Everything you see, computer, everything comes from the ground. Then you sit on the resources. By the time month end, no matter how rest price will be, how this month are coming to an end, you will not forfeit your salaries and benefits, or you will get it. So even the price of rice go high up, you can afford it. The ordinary person cannot afford it. I get 4 more minutes. So you have to think, and that brings me to the point again: wisdom, knowledge. Every one of us that were born, God didn't make it for nothing. There's a purpose for which one of us came on this earth for. But we can change our own course. We can decide to do anything we want to do. You can develop your mind. And I think that's what Africans are not doing more. You see, someone in America, they get different kind of people here. Not all Americans are serious. But they have some Americans, they cannot afford to sleep. They study hard to change situations, solve problems. I regret why I came to this country late. Maybe I would have been flying jet around here. Or would have done something different, something far, far, far. So it's not late. You can take money and invest in the young people. Find smart Liberians and put them into places of trust. Send them abroad to learn. Some of you, the argument of the people are going to come back. That is not the case. When you send people abroad to learn, you must have had a placement for them. Nobody want to come stay in America. If people get resources, they're prepared to innovate. Innovation will come. But somebody said they can hardly find food to eat. What kind of innovation the person going to have? The person wouldn't think for long. You think too much, you get crazy. When your stomach is empty, you don't have, your mind is not working good. Your connective cells in the brain that are supposed to be arguing to give you some good senses, they are not even functioning well. Then you sit down and say, Liberians are serious. You leaders are not serious. Every one of you, from the person came down, it doesn't appear that you people are serious. You should be seen through your actions, the things that you do for Liberia. Your statement, your pronouncement should follow wisdom. For the young people, those of them who think that there's no future, they have to revert to drugs, get their mind out. It will take wise leaders to change the situation around. If you have farms, you have food on those farms, the young people that are over there, set their plans, prepare their medication. You send it to villages, send it to all of the counties, collect those people. You don't need to force them like that. All you need is a strategy. If you have farms, they go there, they don't have that much energy, but in fact, they're even there seeing things for themselves. Change their mind. Okay, so that's how we come to we'll keep discussing this thing, but again, that's how the case is. Liberia must change. The way Liberia can change, only good leaders, people who can find a strategy to change the country. It's not about, I want to wear coat suit, Liberian mentality. Wear coat suit. When you're bouncing the man, everybody see, oh, the men are bug men. You check it, you cannot write a fitting sentence. So it's time to look and think about the little place that God placed you. Change the environment. Help improve the life of people. The old people are over there. Some of them are now hopeless. How can you give them small little hope before even they can die? That's social security. People are stealing. The very first people got that they know social security, that pay the money, they go there, they go steal. Instead of thinking social security, what kind of a welfare system can you have for the older people? They, they did not have the opportunity. They are about to leave this world. Lord give them some dignity so they can live and feel their presence of being Liberian. So that even on their dying bed, say, oh, God bless this country, Liberia. I never had it when I was a young man, but my old age, Joseph Boakai, it make a difference. Instead of, okay, you won't be seen as the most smartest person, among the Liberian population. That's not how leadership works. When you're walking in the morning, you're driving, you see people walking, it should trouble your mind. It should worry you. When I was working at GSC, they gave me in a car. We have confusion at the GSC. People started complaining, oh, I used to put people in my car. What sense does it make for me to be driving, going to Ghanarsville, and yet I see people lining up on Johnson Street? Then I pass. Maybe I put my head to the window, right? Then I pass. What sense is that? There's no single day I did that. When I'm going, people in my car. When I come in, people in my car. I have a brand new car now, but I didn't mind all people kind of dead in my car. No, I don't care for that. So that's how I want to end the show today. We hope that you leaders will think and make Liberia better. It's no time. The world doesn't have time for any lazy group of people or people who just care for themselves. There's no time for that. You don't have, and I say again, none of you are going to take even this pen. None of you are going to take pen from this earth when you are dying. None of you, none of us. Or the laptop. I get a laptop. The reason I buy especially laptop because now I play that thing I play on. Other than that, I don't need these things. Make it available for the people. Bless them. Joseph Boakai says he's a deacon. Okay, granted. The Bible now apply it in the life of the people. The Bible is not mean, oh my God, I need to, I was thinking too deep today about how we all, and I think that's some of the things I will talk about next time, right? We need to start going into the mind of the church, even the church people themselves. When you take offering and tithe, you're not giving it to God. You must create programs, you must create jobs. The culture was doing well in that place. The culture had a mission. I had some benefit from that. When the war came, I spent most of my time. In fact, I spent most of my time on the culture mission. Because that's the only rescue play we had. So there should be no church congregation that will sit and sing songs whole day. That's something we'll talk about. Maybe we all can help some to change the mindset of people. You collect offering and tithes. How many years you been doing that? Should we multiply it and assume and the total? That'll be a big trouble, right? But we're not going to go that route. But what I'm saying to you, the obligation is not just on government. Government has a bigger part of it. Some of you church organizations in Liberia even get subsidy in the budget. What do you do with the money? You're not taking the money. In fact, religious people, they should be the worst people if they're not taking action. Because you know that the Bible has said it, nothing you came with, there's nothing you're going to go with. So it should be nobody sitting there and fighting for wealth. Especially someone in a certain age, you should be thinking now, oh no, I just God's grace get me here. So whatever I do right now, you do for mankind. When you have the opportunity, that's what you should be thinking about. Thank you so much for those of you who've been watching us. It was a pleasure joining us. And this is the African Action Network, 2 Radio. We are glad to be here to serve you. We focus our attention on Liberia because of the growing situation in that country. It's our hope that the country there will get better. When it gets better, then other taxpayers' money will be saved for other people in some part of the world. Liberia is not the only country that has poverty. Right now, Liberia is not fighting war. But imagine 15 years ago where you fought, other people are fighting war right now. They have nowhere to go. They are starving. So let the resources go to the other people. You get an opportunity, utilize it better. For the rice crisis, we want to say, Joseph Boakai, you must do the best you can. It's time to work. You wanted to work, it's time for you to work. I'm not sure you can go all over the country, but yeah, people must do it. You will have the best strategy. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have each and every one of you. Until then, I'm James Johnson. Have a pleasant and a wonderful night. If it's midnight or if daylight is coming up, well, when you wake up, think about yourself, think about your surrounding, and make Liberia better. Thank you and have a pleasant, wonderful time. Bye.